Hey, LARPers, I'm still here with, what was your name, ma'am?
Sarah Hart.
Sarah Hart, who is the, you said director?
I am the co-director of Dystopia Rising Texas.
Wonderful. We have quite a few people here from Dystopia Rising tonight. It's the whole Dystopia Rising Texas seems to have quite the following in general.
We're a very blessed community. We have people here from Fort Worth right now, Dallas, Houston. Basically, everybody's come out to support LARP as well as Dystopia Rising.
Which is an amazing thing in and of itself.
Like I said, we're incredibly blessed.
How long have you been doing LARP?
Oh my goodness, that's a question. I've probably been LARPing since, I'm gonna date myself. 2004. I started in actuyou OWBN and Mind's Eye Society.
Don't worry about dating yourself. I'll go further back. So, what got you into Dystopia specifically?
You know what? It was actually the community. It was like no other community that I honestly had ever met before. They were people that wanted to get to know me on an out-of-character level. They wanted to get to know my life, and they wanted to, of course, role-play with me. I mean, I feel like in many communities, it's very rare that you get to meet, friends that you're going to have for the rest of your life, and now I get to enjoy that every single month.
How did you get to the point of director?
Well, that is my sweet husband's fault. I will admit that Dystopia Rising was actually our first date in New Jersey. Oh yes, such a charmer. Ryan Coogan.
Hey baby, would you like to go kill some zombies with me?
He did, and let me tell you, that man protected me from raiders like nobody else. Love of my life, the love of your life will protect you from raiders in a cabin at like 3 o'clock in the morning, all right? And it was wonderful. Honestly, I loved the experience. It was full immersion, so it was from Friday to Sunday, and I was in that world. I was a survivor in the apocalypse without any question, and it was incredible. It was fulfilling.
Wonderful. What kinds of things, as director, do you do to help the game?
Well, I have a master's in psychology, and so I bring that kind of education into the horror aspect of the game. So I know how to poke people in their feelings, poke them in their scary parts, while also maintaining a safe level in which to do so and recognizing the symptoms of what it looks like when it's not safe, so that we can continue a healthy, community and relationship with people. So I poke people in their feelings. I'm also the coordinator director specifically of Dystopia Rising. So I do, all the background stuff that you never see, and I love it. I love it. It's actually my job. It's actually my full-time job to do Dystopia Rising. So my everyday 24/7 is dedicated to making it a good experience for people.
So when other people get up in the morning and make their morning coffee and stuff, do you have to get up in the morning and put dots on your face before you go to work?
You know what? It's usually mixing. It's actually usually mixing fake blood and updating character sheets. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. There's also coffee. Coffee's important.
Some people make coffee. Some people make blood. Whatever the case may be.
It's a pretty good life, I'm not going to lie. It's a wonderful people. I do it for them. We average about 250 players every event. So we're one of the largest LARPs in Texas. It's incredible. We've been running for 4 years, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Not ever.
That's wonderful. My long-term plan is to hit up as many LARPs as I possibly can, and Dystopia is definitely amongst the list of what I want to get to. Haven't done it yet, but it's going to happen. If there are other people out there that say, yes, Dystopia, that's what I want to do, where is their best way to find you?
The best way to find us is the website I'd rather be in Bravo.com. You can also look us up on dystopiarisinglarp.com. And actually, if you're interested in the LARP, I have this for you. It is a brass note. This is our money within game, and it also has our website on it, dystopiarisinglarp.com. So when you
have some money, go look at us.
Have some money, come look at us.
Okay.
And it's really wonderful. Honestly, my email is dr.lonestar@gmail.com, and I'm always reachable there, basically 24/7. This is my life, and I love it.
So with Dystopia, I understand being in Texas, some people don't necessarily understand being in Texas, things get hot. This game takes a break over the summer, am I correct?
We do. We take a 3-month break so that the Darling Girl Scouts who actually live or come to the camp during the summer can take it back over. We call them our tiny raiders who come and take back over our camp.
So in the middle of summer, they can melt. And then once they've melted,
we can live on, yes, yes.
But aside from that, you guys go year-round the rest of the year, right?
Yes, absolutely. We run from September until May, except for those 3 months out of the year. We take up one full weekend, so it's Friday to Sunday. Weekend, our new schedule for 2016 and 17 is actually just about to come out, probably in the next week, so we'll have updates on that on our website.
Wonderful. By the time this goes out to everybody, it's about, right now, camera magic, it's January here while I'm taping this, but by the time you guys see it, maybe mid-spring, nonetheless, Dystopia is still going strong, and even if you end up getting this on the web and, well after into the summer while the Girl Scouts are melting, Dystopia will be continuing on, so it's still something to look forward to. One more question here. If there is somebody who's thinking, I might try this, I don't know what exactly to expect, what would you tell a brand new person to LARP on expecting to go into Dystopia?
I would tell them to prepare for clothing that is probably going to get dirty. I'm going to prepare them for potentially running around, being woken up in the middle of the night, having things potentially chase them, but also a community of survivors and people who are going to fight for you and are going to fight to survive and protect you as well because you are part of their group.
Wonderful! Thank you very much for hanging with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Go. Howdy ho, Adventures of LARP fans. We're back with another show. I'm Chris Clever with Matt Griffith and Courtney Manor. And today we're talking about one of the new trends that's coming up in, I don't know that it's LARP so much as a living game, which I suppose follows under the title, and I'm ready to welcome them in, puzzle rooms. So the puzzle rooms, I don't know that any of us have actually yet been to any. But
I know like 4 guys who are running 2 different rooms in town.
Right. But to bring our folks up to speed, in case you haven't heard of puzzle rooms, it's a room or set of rooms set up with a variety of clues and extra stuff, and you and a group of your friends goes in and has X amount of time to solve the puzzle, oftentimes to escape.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
And so it's just a timed thing to see if you can perform the actions and find enough clues in time.
Right, and there's a certain amount, I think, of role-playing involved. It's not a role-playing game, they're not marketing it that way, but there's they set a scene where you're in a dungeon and you have a certain amount of time before you are killed by something horrible happening to you. Mm-hmm. So there's a little role play they sort of sneak into the general population.
I think it's definitely role play light, but at the same time, because you're up and doing things, I would fit it into LARP as part of the living games sort of thing.
Well, I would definitely call it more live action than saying sitting around a table and solving puzzles. I'm curious, since I haven't been to one, how they manage to get people up and active in solving puzzles, because I'm not really clear what puzzles they're doing.
From what I've seen, one of my Facebook friends and the guy we know in real life went to one of these with a bunch of his friends and his wife. It's pretty much the puzzles are scattered around the room, and there are physical objects in the puzzle that you have to access to escape the room, or at least some of it. From what I've heard. I could be completely
You know,
wrong. Don't quote me on this.
What I worry about is these old video games where every so often you could pick up random items and add it into your bag.
Where you'd have the biggest backpack ever, but your character never changed what they look like, and you got 1,000 pounds of junk.
Yet another vase. I can pick it up. I guess I gotta take this. 10-foot ladder. I guess I gotta take this. When there were a Freakazoid episode like that, just kept grabbing and then needed all of this stuff. Yeah, see, I'd worry about that sort of thing. Or, depending on exactly what I was doing, I might end up trying to take all of those things at the same time anyway, because you never know.
I remember Sierra games were
the,
big into that.
Yeah,
and I imagine, if it was a LARP-based sort of Sierra game, I would end up spending half the day looking through my bag, putting random things, shoving them together, seeing if something would happen, because I was stuck in the game. I couldn't make anything do anything.
I remember that feeling well. I love point and clicks. But that's pretty much what I understand it being, but I could be wrong.
I talked with a few folks at a local puzzle room because we were talking about having them come out to a convention. And while they were all for it, what I was told is that they would have a real trouble doing that because of the amount of electronics and things that were built into the room to make this happen.
Ooh.
And that alone sounds really cool.
That does sound cool.
Everything's better with blinky lights. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
Shiny things.
And
Blink.
so now, what we might have to do is we might have to go do a Adventures in LARPing round of a local puzzle room. But, you know, we'd have to all be in character.
I'm for that.
In a variety of characters. We just, you know, pick one before going in. It's a character that the puzzle room people don't know about.
Oh, my
Use that LARP from a hat.
Yes. We will use LARP from a hat to...
Hats from a LARP from a hat.
From what?
Whoa. It's like Inception. I don't know which hat or LARP I'm in at the moment. But I have seen that, I mean, here in Austin, Austin's not exactly a tiny town by any means, but we already have 3 or 4 of these games around. The first one I heard about was someplace in New York, and there was a morning show went through a puzzle room to see if they could do it or split up and tried to go through. And I thought that was really neat. I wanted to visit New York and try it out. But we've got 3 in town. It's kind of amazing. I wonder though if I mean I would imagine that they're quite a bit of fun, mostly because I like playing a lot of games. But I imagine that they're quite a bit of fun to be springing up like this. I worry that some may overdo it to a point, an oversaturation, at which point...
So you're worried it's a fad? And
I am worried that it is a fad.
Fizzle out.
I am worried.
Well, it's kind of all the more reason to go out and find one now and go try it out before you miss out and you don't get to see one.
Well, but to be fair, to kind of counter that, I think a lot of people thought haunted houses would be a fad, and look at them now.
I don't have any haunted houses in this town. It's December.
Okay. They're actually something
It's fizzled out in like the end of October. November 1, I didn't see a single one.
He's got a point.
He's got a point, but at the same time,
I'm not sure what that point is, but I know that, gosh darn it, he has one.
But I mean, you still see them come around every September. Some are even year round, and you get the haunted house. And I think in Austin alone we have 7 or 8 of them now that are big haunted houses. Not to mention all the little ones that come through, including a couple of new ones that are going to be year round in the area.
Well, so on the one hand, though, you know, as I say, I worry about fizzling out and just losing pace, and that they're just a temporary thing. But if they're going to the extremes of adding in enough technology that they can't move it for a temporary game at a con, I mean, part of me says that's enough infrastructure built in that it should be able to support that. I would hope.
Yeah.
Maybe the owners hope.
Yeah. I mean, I can also see a big potential for just LARP there, just in general. Like, if they ever lose value as a puzzle room, rent them out to LARP groups to set up more sci-fi style LARPs.
It could be. See, that's the other thing is that if it's spreads out enough, and if they need some extra filler, then it could be something that groups for different genres that are not fantasy LARP at a park could rent out that's already set up, and so that could be pretty cool too. Well, we will have to assemble ourselves together and try and run through. If we do that, we will be sure and get camera in place and have all sorts of fun with it. But for now, we want some more Adventures in LARP show. Stay with us, and here's some more show.
Time again for another terrible LARP.
Now what?
Wait. Then we play.
This has been another terrible LARP.
Hey everyone, Crazy Carl here, and it sounds like you need a date. If you're a fey monster and you need a date, call me, Crazy Carl.
Hi, my name is Gina. I'm here looking for a date. I like fairies and unicorns and
Hey, Adventures in LARPing fans. I'm Chris Glover here with Matt Griffith and Flavio Fa.
Hello.
And we are once again looking at some different LARP movies and seeing what we have going on. And I'm just kind of stumped a little bit. We decided to go very old school, back to '82 for
Tom Cruise's breakout role.
Hanks.
Hanks. They're different?
Yes,
Different.
yes, they're different. One of them can act.
And the other one's an action star.
Tom Hanks' breakout role, Mazes and Monsters, 1982.
Yeah.
The movie your parents warned you about. Or warned about you, something.
The movie that scared people about the whole gaming thing.
Right. Yeah. So there was gaming and there was LARP in a cave, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
And the subways in New York.
Needless
Sort
to
of.
say, this is spoiler time.
If you haven't seen it by
Or
now,
something.
you're probably too young. If you haven't seen it by now.
yeah.
I'm too young. We just watched it.
Well, I know. I saw it when it first originally aired.
You are old.
I'm not that much older than you.
All right. So yes, the spoiler is that the Tom Hanks character is emotionally fragile before being left at college with his various gaming roommates or gaming friends, and falls victim to his own dementia and kind of goes off on his own as if he is the character that he portrayed in the game, and kind of loses it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I was fascinated to see the in-movie evolution of tabletop, the concept that we could go and we can play this in real life, in a real cave. That was very exciting. And then the first game they had, Tom Hanks loses his freaking mind.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah, so I didn't see this when it first came out, and way back when I started doing some gaming and some LARP sort of thing, my parents had mentioned something about this movie, and I know there were at least urban legends of this sort of thing happening, and what? Okay, we'll stop it.
Time again for another terrible LARP.
What is that? Oh, we're going for full immersion with this game.
Hey everyone, Crazy Carl here, and it sounds like you need a date. If you're a fey monster and you need a date, call me, Crazy Carl. Me like work. Me want woman. Me dwarf. Me get out there. Please help me.
Welcome back, Adventures in LARP fans. This is Chris Glover, and we're on Crafting Corner. And as I mentioned in the last episode, in case you missed it, in case this is your first time to Adventures in LARPing, we're making large-scale props for our LARP. And this season, the first project is a large column that we can extend over a doorway or freestand out in the middle of the woods somewhere, kind of creepy and cool. To do this, we're going to design it in such a way that we can also take it apart to transport in our vehicles. And we're going to make it so that it can stand up to a little bit of abuse, because we know it's a LARP, something's going to get hit. Now, last time we did a whole bunch of cutting. We cut a bunch of upright pieces for our column parts. We're working on one of the columns of the arch first. And then we cut a whole bunch of base pieces. And once we've got all our cutting down, I should say, we're going to start assembling some of these parts together. And we're going to go section by section. Each column will have 3 sections. One that sits right down on the ground with a little bit of added weight to keep it stable. One that sits on top of that to give it some height. And then a top piece that we will extend over for the top of our arch to the other column that we will build moving forward with the project. So let's get started on the first piece right now. Hey, so with the column that we're building, we want to be sure and have a little extra weight in the bottom section of our column. We also want to be sure that when the sections of the column sit on top of each other, they kind of lock in place a little bit so that the whole thing doesn't come falling down on somebody. We cut out a whole bunch of these base types. For weight, what we're going to do is, instead of using one of them as our base plate in our lowest column piece, we're actually going to use 3 stacked on top of each other. This will provide a little bit of extra weight if you're real worried, because the rest of the column that we build is going to be relatively lightweight. This should be good enough, especially since we'll have a secondary column to keep it all in place. If you are real worried about extra weight and things getting knocked over, especially if you're out in the woods, somewhere real windy, when we construct the sides, you can always leave a little bit of a hole, and when you get on site, find some big rocks and simply put them inside for a little extra weight while you're at your LARP, and then you can pull them out to transport it and not have a bunch of extra weight there. But we are going to go ahead and do that with these. Now, the other piece is being able to lock the columns in place. So we have to prepare for that before we start putting everything together. What we're going to use is PVC pipe. I know what you're thinking. I'm not really crazy. What we're going to do is we're going to take what will be the top piece of the bottom column, or bottom section of the column, and the bottom piece of the middle section of the column, and I'm going to drill 2 holes off center, kind of scattered around here, big enough for a piece of PVC. What we'll do is, when the bottom column is set down, we'll put the PVC through the bottom column, and then the top column will be able to slide right down on top, and that'll help keep it from going anywhere. So I'm going to start by finding the right size drill bit for my pipe and drill in a couple of holes in these boards so that they line up. We want them to line up with each other. We don't want them to be all nice and centered and stuff because we want to lock it in place, but we want them to line up with each other. So I'm going to drill some holes in these boards, and then we'll get to adding on some of our side pieces and making our column. Now that we have everything lined up, in order to make sure we don't lose that when we start building things, I'm going to mark it. This will be top, this will be bottom of column 1. I'm also doing it on one edge so that later I can be sure and line both of them up in the same alignment so that our PVC lock will work. Now it's time to start building something. So I am starting to add screws on. This is going to be the bottom of the first column, and what I'm doing here is making the base 3 panels thick. This provides extra weight to the bottom of the column itself. And I've just pre-drilled some holes in here. Makes the wood screws hold so much better. I'm not really using a lot of wood glue or things like that for this project because this is all about the end look. We're not so worried so much about making fine furniture, that sort of thing. And when we're finished with building the whole construction of the pieces, the entire outside will get paper machéed, including these areas. So we will get some extra adhesion and extra hold together like that. So now that I've got one attached, a couple of wood screws on each panel, so that's going to provide us with plenty of strength should something happen and this get bumped into. I'm going to add another piece to the other corner. I'm going to flip it and add it to the corners all the way around. 2 of my strips per side. Alright, now that I've got the base on the other end all screwed down, I put the top of it on. And this is where it's going to have the holes for our next section to sit on top of. All I've got to do is the same thing here, line up our uprights, a couple of screws in each one, still putting 2 screws in to make sure that it's nice and strong, going all the way around the edge, and then we'll be done with the skeleton on this one. Alright, Adventures in LARPing fans, I finished screwing the top of our lower column together with all of the uprights. Here it is standing up, comes up about waist height. I've already put the PVC in. This will be removable when we start transporting these, and it'll also help lock the top piece on. This is just PVC all the way through. We're going to pause here, and when we come back next episode, we'll start construction on the top part of the column, and then the cross piece to go across and make the whole thing all come together. Until next time, see you then.
Time again for another terrible LARP.
Oh, I'm out. Oh. Nobody steals my lead! Ah! I am roadkill now. Hey everyone, Crazy Carl here, and it sounds like you need a date. If you're a fey monster and you need a date, call me, Crazy Carl.
Oh, hello there. You want to go swimming in the lake at midnight, catch a mermaid, have a bit of a fish fight? See you in the forest, baby.